The OpenAI API can add the full power of ChatGPT to your Bubble apps. You can use their API to add text generation within your Bubble app and do a whole host of amazing and cool features. For most people, they will be choosing between whether to use GPT-4 or GPT 3.5 Turbo. In this video, I'm going to compare the two and offer some points of some comparison and also run a few tests in a quick Bubble app mockup that I've created. To begin with, I'd say the main difference for many people is going to be cost. That we have a significantly lower token cost on the GPT 3.5 Turbo models compared to GPT-4, which is up here. So that is, if I've got my decimal place in the right place, double the cost. Yeah, I got that right. Maths is fine. What is a token? Well, a token is explained in the paragraph up here. So this paragraph is 35 tokens. So if you are using and building an application where you want to let your users kind of run free, obviously put some constraints with ChatGPT and OpenAI's API, then I would recommend using GPT 3.5 Turbo because it is gonna cost you significantly less compared to if you had some sort of power user or you hadn't put limits on your system and they're using GPT-4. The reason for the price difference is because, first of all, GPT 3.5 Turbo is trained on a smaller model. It's still huge. That's how we get the amazing text that we do from it. It's also a much older model. It's been around a bit longer. GPT-4 is trained on a large model, and it is a newer model, hence the increase in the numbering system. Let me take you through to this page and I'll just refresh it. So I'm going to say write 5 tweets promoting a YouTube video about comparing GPT 3.5 and GPT-4. Copy that into each one. And clicking the buttons only a moment apart, because I think the first thing we'll notice is, of course, that GPT 3.5 Turbo is quicker. And let's wait for that to come through. We should see that any moment now. Yep, there we go. There are our tweets from GPT 3.5 Turbo. And we're still waiting on GPT-4. So there's two things to consider here. At least one is the weight that you put your users through. I'd really recommend, if you are not using a plugin that allows you to stream the data in, if you're using the API connector, that you add in some sort of loading animation. And we've got some videos on adding loading animations to OpenAI on our channel and on our website. The other thing being that if you're waiting for a big response or you put a large prompt in with GPT-4, you still got the chance of running into an issue with it timing out with Bubble. Bubble has increased the time that it will wait for a response from the API, but GPT-4 can still take a significant amount of time. So I wonder if there's just anything that we can notice to compare here. So they've both got emojis in them. I don't know if it shows particularly clearly here. My experience with using GPT-4 is that if I want a real richness of text, just to take it up to the next level with it appearing like it's written by a real human being, I think that GPT-4 does edge ahead. So there are indeed cases in my daily workflow where I would choose to use GPT-4. But then again, on the other hand, I'm happy to have a much quicker response and something that isn't so rich in the use of its English, of the words that it places in it, and I will use GPT 3.5 Turbo to do that. Let's just try a longer form. Why don't we go with write a 500-word blog post about the pros and cons of using Bubble.io to build a web app. So again, we'll expect GPT 3.5 Turbo to come back quicker, and we're going to wait and see what happens. Okay, so we had a much longer wait on GPT-4. Remember, we don't want it to time out. That's really going to frustrate users if you put that in your Bubble app. But I wonder if we can see much of a difference. Now, I wouldn't say that the fact that it's put a header in here and it's put numbering. I was running some tests as preparation for this video, and GPT 3.5 in that case with a very similar prompt also laid it out like that. I would say though an expression like bubble.io boon or bane for web app builders, it's personal choice, but maybe that is going into that region of a bit more of a richness, of a creative writing approach. We got a slightly longer response, but again, that's not really a difference between the two models. I mean, basically, in a nutshell, it comes down to cost, weight, and I would say if you're writing long form content, then I have started to use GPT-4 instead of 3.5 in my daily workflow because I just want that little bit extra more. Whereas, like I say, there's many occasions when I will use GPT 3.5 Turbo instead. I'd love to hear your thoughts though. Please leave a comment down below if you are using GPT 3.5 Turbo or GPT-4 in your app, and what has nudged you one way or the other. I would love to hear your feedback, and we read every single comment.